Hi everyone. So I've been using this Motorola G52 for over 2 weeks now. I initially wanted to wait for an update before reviewing this phone, but I feel like I'll be waiting for a while. And to be completely honest, my opinion hasn't changed much after I did my first impression video. Build of the phone is actually pretty good. Yes, you can get a lot of phone with glass back, but I much rather prefer a lighter phone with matte finish. Even though it's a plastic back, I am okay with this in the budget range. It will give you more security. For example, I've been using this phone without any case or screen protector and it held up pretty good. Even the front glass has no scratches so far, and this ortho bowling sort of coating is also decent. Yes, it does get some fingerprint even on the front and back, but it has been okay, so I seriously have no complaints there in this price range. I've been using this phone as my secondary phone and I'm going to replace my mother's Motorola One Fusion Plus with this phone, and the only reason is because it's a lighter phone. She has been complaining about that phone for over 2 years that it is heavy, and it is actually heavy. So I think this is one of the best built Motorola phone in this price range, so I'm really happy about that. I also handed this phone to my colleagues to ask their impression and what do you think about the price of this phone. None of them said this is going to be under 20,000. Another reason for that is the beautiful display under that panda glass with minimum bezel in this price range. See, I know it might not be the best display in price range, but it's actually pretty good. The only tint I was able to see in this display was in a very low brightness, but otherwise I have no complaints. It also supports 90Hz refresh rate, which is good, although I have mixed feelings about it. I will talk about that in the performance section, but when it comes to watching YouTube, Netflix and Prime Video, it has been a good experience. And having those dual speaker actually made the experience a little bit better, even though sound is a little flat. But if you are just doing the casual media watching like YouTube or Netflix, it has been a good experience. I wouldn't recommend it for listening music over the speaker, but for normal calls or video calls it has been really good. I actually also tried this 3.5 mm jack. I haven't used it in a really long time, but I have some cables lying around. Like I had my Air KG earphones and I also tried my Bose headphones over the Bluetooth. I'd say it's okay. I mean, I was not expecting a lot, but I think the sound coming out from this headphone jack is not very good. So I wouldn't recommend it for like a long period of listening. But if you just want to play a game, which I don't think the processor is very capable of, it's a decent experience. And also that Dolby Atmos might enhance the audio a little bit, but do not expect a lot from that. But let's talk about the performance. And if you watch my previous impression video, I was not too happy with the performance. And I still believe Motorola One Fusion Plus with Snapdragon 730 somehow performs a little bit better than that. I also tried it with auto 90Hz mode. I even tried it with 60Hz refresh rate as well. I also reduced the animation to 0.5x to make it feel faster, but there are a lot of things that irritate me sometimes. And I'm just nitpicking here, but the animation while opening an app is weird. It changes the circle to square and I always notice that. And another thing I feel that's sluggish is the scrolling on this phone. See, I know it's a budget phone and I'm not even comparing it with a flagship phone. I'm just saying I know budget phones are slow. I've used so many of them. So they are slow in opening apps, in clicking pictures, even playing games. But this is something I think it's related to software and Motorola can polish that. Would I still recommend it? Absolutely. I mean, I think these are very small things you might not even notice or care about. But I wanted to put it out there because just because it has that stock Android, it's not going to be snappy because you still need some tuning and raw performance for it. And I also recommend getting a 6GB version because I think the RAM management is not great on 4GB version. I've seen it refreshes the app and Chrome pages after opening 3-4 apps in the background. And I wouldn't even recommend to turn on that RAM booster as it is not the fastest storage out there to use it as RAM. And I know a lot of people were asking about haptics on this phone. I actually did not mention it in my previous video because I do not expect a lot in this price range. So yes, this vibration motor is not good. I mean, I actually turned it off as soon as I set up my device. So it is like the old Nokia vibration motor. I mean, you can do your massage, but it's not good for haptics. The battery life, however, is incredible. As I said, I use it as my secondary phone and it will last me around 5 to 6 days. So I'd say it's very power efficient. I do make a lot of calls with this phone and I use it for social media a lot. This phone also comes with a 33-watt charger in the box, and this will take you around 1 hour 20 minutes to fully charge this phone. So I think overall it is a very good battery phone. The camera has been improved a little bit from the last generation, but it's still not the best camera in this price segment. For that, I will definitely recommend Samsung over Motorola in this price range, but nevertheless, it's a decent camera. Let's have a look. I've taken some pictures from the main camera and the wide angle camera. If you're taking the pictures in the daylight, I think the main sensor is really good. Even the wide angle camera is also good if it's a bright scenario. The HDR is not very good as you can see in the sky, but otherwise if you're outside, I think the wide angle camera works fine. But if you're going to take pictures inside, as you can see side by side, the wide angle camera sucks in the HDR department. Also, there are no details. And the next picture, you can see the best example of it. In the main camera, you can still see some sort of paint in the end of that wall, but on the wide angle camera, it's completely washed out. If you are taking in a semi decent condition, I think the wide angle camera works, but I think it still requires a little bit of tuning, and also it lacks a lot of details. If I talk about the front camera, I think it's also decent. I mean, you can get away with it, but it's not very good when it comes to low light. And the portrait is fine. The edge detection is not very good, but I was not anyway expecting a lot from this camera. So for me, it's okay. In the video department, I think not having OIS always going to be a problem. So I think the stabilization is not very good. The colors look okay. If you wanna use it on a tripod, I think it's going to be a good camera, but I would not recommend it for vlogging as such. I've already talked about the call quality, Wi-Fi reception, and also the carrier aggregation in my first impression video. I'm just going to say one thing. In day-to-day use, it has been really good. Yes, the Wi-Fi range is a little bit low, but in day-to-day life, I had no issues. Now, my biggest concern with this phone is going to be the software update. See, this is funny because this is the closest experience you can get to a Pixel in terms of experience, and there are little to no bugs. But I still am concerned because of Motorola. They are not doing very great in terms of updates. No, I know they will give you some update, but the problem is they never give you timeline. For example, my mother is using Motorola One Fusion Plus and it is running really smooth. The problem is it got Android 11 after 2 years. So that's the biggest concern I have with Motorola. So if you're someone who watches Google I/O and want to experience the new Android very soon, I mean, I don't think this phone is going to be for you. For that, you might go for either Samsung or even Pixel phone. But other than that, the experience has been really good. So if you want a lighter phone with really good design, very slim bezels and a great screen, this is a very good phone. Yes, the camera is kind of okay. The performance is not very good, but I think it is going to be a really decent phone and I will definitely recommend it. And I think this is going to be a perfect phone for your parents. If I missed anything in this video, please check my first impression video. I talked about a little bit more stuff because a lot of people asked some question. I did answer the question in that video. But if you enjoyed this video, please interact with me in any sort of way. Comment on this video or like this video. My name is Rohit. I'll see you in the next one. Till then.